Senator Ricketts, our condolences on your colleague and your friend, Senator Graham. What can you tell us and everybody watching something about Senator Graham that nobody knows?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the condolences. We have lost the meaning of the word patriot with Lindsey. He was just so dedicated to this country, to South Carolina, to the U.S. Senate, to freedom. I'm at a loss. He was a personal friend, and I love the man, and we are going to miss him greatly. He would come over to my house occasionally for dinner, and I'd always keep a bottle of Riesling and Coke Zero for him just in case he showed up. And another story was one time we were at dinner and President Trump called, and you may recall that President Trump was encouraging us to get rid of the filibuster. And Lindsey Graham started talking to him about something else and said, "Hey, Mr. President, you really should weigh in on this." And he's going back and forth with the president, and he says, "Hey, let me write you up a tweet. I'll send it to you." So he writes up the tweet, sends it to the president, and the president posts it, and at the bottom it says, "And the Senate should get rid of the filibuster." So Lindsey was just somebody who was able to be very blunt with people, had a just tremendous sense of humor, was super smart. He is going to be greatly missed in the U.S. Senate. I just don't know what we're going to do without him.
And to your point about his sense of humor and that he was an everyman, something that his communications director, Kevin Bishop, was just talking to us about. My wife, Hillary Vaughn, was the New Hampshire embed reporter in 2015 when Graham was running for president. She says, she told me this morning, he took all the embeds out bowling at one point, which is very uncommon for a presidential candidate to do. And then years later, when she was a congressional reporter, she was at the gift shop getting something for her parents around the holidays. And there was Lindsey Graham himself looking at a piece of jewelry. I think it was a necklace, and he couldn't decide. And he asked my wife which one he should get. And she said, I like this one. And that's what he got. And he said, thanks. And then he was on his way. It's things that you don't see in Washington, D.C. very much anymore. Who could possibly fill the void that is left by this person who when we look at the scope of his career and his life, he does sometimes seem larger than the Senate?
Yeah, Lindsey had a way to be able to engage people, to charm them. You know, even after maybe calling somebody a homicidal maniac, he was able to go back and develop a relationship by just being funny. He was direct. And frankly, I think that's one of the things that a lot of foreign leaders appreciated about him, is that he would be direct with them and just say, "Hey, you got to get over this. That I know you hate these people, but let me tell you, your security, their security, our security, all depends on us getting along." And that was one of the things I think people really appreciate about it. We're all going to have to work a lot harder to be able to make up for the fact that Lindsey isn't going to be there to backstop us. He's not going to be there to be able to give us advice. He's not going to be able to talk to the president. I mean, that was one of the things that Lindsey would do, is he would talk with all of us in the Senate, take our feedback, our input, and then he'd be able to go talk to the president and share some perspectives with the president and be able to bring that message back to us as well about how the president was thinking about different international topics. And again, Lindsey just had a way about him that he could talk really frank with you, charm you. He's very funny, and say the hard things, and people would keep that relationship.
And to your point there about his relationship with the president, Democrats, where you work, really don't want to be seen in public having any kind of a relationship with President Trump. And the president today is talking about how Senator Graham was kind of his conduit to these Democrats. Listen to this.
What was the last thing he said to you?
I said, "We'll see you soon. Come over anytime you want." He came into the White House a lot because I liked him. Can't do that with everybody. But he'd come in a lot. And he was a great, like a gauge, a temperature gauge of the Senate. He was somebody that most Democrats liked. Some didn't, but most Democrats liked. And just about all of the Republicans like Lindsey. He got along with everybody.
Senator Ricketts, what is Senator Graham's legacy?
Well, again, he defined the word patriot. 33 years of service in the Air Force and Air Force Reserve. He was the first Republican elected in his congressional district back in 1994 since 1877. So he has been dedicated to this country for a long, long time. And really, everyone should just emulate what his dedication to this country is about. it's going to be very, very hard to find somebody who, again, as the president was talking about, can have so many friendships on both sides of the aisle and be able to represent those views to the president and be able to advocate for all the things that he thought was right. And let me tell you, here's another thing. He came to Nebraska several times. He came for me to campaign, but we had an issue with trying to get our votes back to winner take all for the presidential electoral college. Lindsey would hop on a plane and come to Nebraska to advocate for that, or he'd hop on a plane and we just saw go to Ukraine to try and protect freedom there. If he saw something, he was passionate about it. He'd get on a plane and do something about it. He was not afraid of saying what he thought, and when he saw something need to be done, he would go do it. He wouldn't ask anybody else to go do it. He would go do it.
And Senator Ricketts, everybody that we've spoken to about this is completely shocked at the sudden brief illness Senator Graham apparently suffered, according to his office. When's the last time that you talked to him, and did it seem like he was okay?
Yeah, the last time I talked to him was when we were still in session a couple of weeks ago, and Lindsey seemed fine. I will tell you that the lifestyle of the U.S. Senate is not a particularly healthy one, but Lindsey, last time I talked to him, seemed to be doing well.
Well, it's a tragedy, it's a shock, and we appreciate you being here on a very difficult day. Senator Pete Ricketts.
Thanks. I just ask everybody to pray for his family and for his entire team, because this is really, really a tragic loss for them and for our country.
Yes, it definitely is. Senator Ricketts, thank you.